Hey Al, it's been a while. So I think we're on month 22 or 23 now. It takes me a while to get around to recording these days. As you can see, I lost my office. I have three children, twin autistic boys who needed, and two of them were twins autistics that need a safe room. So I gave up my office for that. Which makes it a little bit harder for me to find time to record now. So, before I get into actually playing, there were a couple people asking, have just asked some general questions about how I dealt with the tendonitis, the therapy I went through. So, I'll kind of give a quick overview of some of the stretches I did, as well as some exercises. Those I would recommend doing with your therapist, a physical therapist, but the actual stretches are just everyday stretches. Honestly, I don't know the names of these stretches. I think there's a Hankelfein stretch, but so my problem is I had tendonitis along the de Quervain's vein or de Quervain's and the ECU. So a lot of it was doing this kind of stretch where you put your thumb down, you grab, and ever so carefully bend it down, and that'll stretch along here. The one thing you have to be very careful about with that stretch is you can overdo it and hurt yourself. So do it just until you feel a stretch and stop. You don't want to go overboard. The other ones are basic ones, just basic wrist stretches. So you got, I don't know the names of any of these, but just these kind of stretches. These are ones that my therapist had me doing all the time, as well as I had to do a lot of stretching my fingers too, as far as just typical, find any possible way to stretch it. That was not with a therapist. However, I'd still, with all that stretching and stuff, I still had to find a solution to the actual problem, what caused the tendonitis in the first place. So when I was playing for the year I started playing, when I was holding my bow, so this is for this hand anyways, when I was holding my bow, I was holding it tight. So my thumb there was pinching down extremely tight. This caused a lot of the tension in here, as well as I think also having it tight caused the tension out there when I was actually bowing. So that's what caused that. Very similar when I play with this hand. When I played with this hand, wherever you know how you part of playing is keeping your thumb aligned with your second finger. Well, I would squeeze that thumb down extremely hard as I played, like to hold on to the instrument. And so that, obviously, as I played, caused the problem on this wrist. So one of the things I got around to, sorry, I'm trying to find a place to put my bow. I ended up doing during my therapy, so my therapist gave me these. So nothing more than just, these are elastic strips, some kind of elastic fabric. I'm going to show you here in a second if I can get, and there's some Velcro at the end of it. So just an elastic strip, bendable, Velcro. So I'm going to see the best way to do this. I would have to wrap it around my thumb and wrist in a certain way. And I'll show you here after I get it on, because trying to do this with one hand, it's always a bit of a challenge. Okay, so now I've got that on my wrist. So I can kind of show you, it's wrapped around my thumb and then wrapped around my wrist. So what that does, and it's not tight enough now, but that pulls my thumb back just slightly. What it does is I can still grip and hold with my thumb, but it encourages it to be in this direction. So as I was playing my bow with this, or as I would train myself, it would just remind me to loosen my thumb. Not necessarily keep me from, I could still death grip this with my thumb, but it would give me a subtle reminder to keep my thumb loose and to to loosen my bow hold. So that was with this hand. The very same thing with the other hand. Very same. I don't know if I want to bother trying to get this on, especially with my Fitbit in the way. But I'll go ahead and do it for the video. So, same strap, same method. Let's see if I can get a close up. So it's just wrapped around my thumb and pulled. So this thumb now is where I need to stay back. So when I'm actually playing, I can constantly be reminded to let that thumb just rest there and not actually grip it. So that's how I slowly trained myself to be loose with my with holding the cello, just in general, bow and cello. So yeah, hopefully that answers a couple of questions that people have had about tendonitis, dealing with tendonitis when you have cello. Don't keep playing your cello while you have tendonitis. It makes it worse. My therapist worked me up to, after doing stretches and exercises, then part of the therapy was actually playing the cello 5 minutes a day, and then it worked up to 10 to 15, because I had to slowly, after releasing the actual tendons and the inflammations there, I had to rebuild up the muscle and the tendon so that it didn't happen again. So if you play while you have tendonitis, it will just make it worse. So my recommendation is see a physical therapist, a hand therapist, specifically if it's what your wrists are having problems with. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off now. All right, so let's go ahead and get started in some actual music. Let's see. So last time I left off, I was just barely starting Hunter's Chorus on Book 2. That's actually what I play for my recital. Hold on, let me take my Fitbit off so I don't scrape it across my cello. That's what I played on my recital. It's actually, we're playing it. It was recorded for my recital since all the COVID stuff. We did everything through recording. So that will be played on Saturday. I could post it up on here, my video, but I'm going to play it right here. So we'll go ahead and start with Hunter's Chorus. I don't have it perfected. I'm still not at the 2-year mark quite yet, so I've still got room to grow. Just bear with me here. There is specifically one part near the end, or at least the second half of it, that I have a difficult time with. I'll explain after the video. I always choke with a video. Okay, let's do this again. Oh my goodness. I may be cutting this out. No, I won't. I like you guys to see it raw. I want to see you guys, other adult learners, know that they're not the only ones struggling with this stuff. They see perfect videos online. It's because people record 100 times for the perfect video. Or they're really talented. I'm not going to bash there are really talented players out there. But, okay, this isn't tight enough either. Skipping. All right, just gotta relax. That was very rough. It took me about 10 tries to get a decent video for my recital. Give you an idea with that one. Now I'll explain the parts that I struggle with the most. So, other than those slip-ups at the beginning, I actually don't struggle with those. It's just the videos I choke. But, so that part, it's very much the bowing that makes it so difficult for me, because it's the lifts that catch me. So that's the actual bowing for that. Syncing up the lifts, the bowing there, and the fingering, I tend to flail a lot. Every once in a while I get it really good, but now it's not that time. So, little bit out of that time. I didn't even really, I meant to I just kind of hop into that song. I really like playing it. It's a lot of fun, challenging. But at least for the first half, before I choked on the second half, I was able to represent a little bit how I actually play when I'm not in front of a video. All right, so that's what I had been working on for a couple weeks, probably a month. Since my last video, barely started my last video. That's how long it took me to get this underway. I did start, and I do not have them memorized, so I do have to pull open the book. Musette from English, Suite number 3. First off was kind of, I do want to address, so chorus from Judas Maccabeus. That's where my teacher started having me do vibrato. I spaced the name of it. I know I mentioned it in the last video. I did not demonstrate it. And if you saw a little bit in Hunter's chorus, I kind of go into it when I can. But Hunter's chorus from Judas Maccabeus has so many half notes that allows me to practice a little bit easier, especially when I take it slower. So I play it a lot slower than normally, but will play it now. Be warned, when I do vibratos, I make a lot of mistakes in the actual playing. So. So that was more of a demo of where I'm at my vibrato. I definitely always mess up I spend more time focusing on my vibrato than the actual notes, so I get lost in the music sometimes there too. I have the hardest time with my first finger. Easier time with vibrato on my second, third, and fourth. Fourth is actually easiest for me. First finger, up here, I can't. It's harder for me to vibrato, but if I shift and then do my first finger, it's easier for me. So it's up here. That's a very strange fun fact. All right, let's hop into Musette. I need to bring this closer. I don't have this memorized like the rest of them. All right. One moment. I'm going to actually. There are a few parts that I focus on during my study. I focus on those sections before I hop into the rest of it. I kind of want to warm up with those. So this is, if anyone has a book, I'm going to start on the second half of measure 13. Just making sure my finger's in the right spot. The shift obviously is where I practice there, especially when it's the 4 to the extended 1. So longest time my thumb wasn't going with me. I was trying to plant my thumb and then shift. So it's reminders even in my music here to shift, take their thumb with you. So. Okay, that's all I really wanted to warm up with. So let's go ahead and start off. I lost the music in my head. Didn't know how it was supposed to sound ahead of time, so. Should have warmed up on this other stuff. Nah, let's do it. Start again. I will get this. So, rough work in progress. I almost want to go a little bit into March and G. I have been working on that, well, slightly. That one's a little bit, definitely a bit of a challenge. I can shift to G, 2 on G, easily enough, or 2, just 2 in general, shifting down to whatever 2 is. So G, D. This one has shifts to A, so my 4th finger in 2nd position. So that's a little bit more challenging for me. My muscle memory goes to 2 just fine, but while that 2 stops there, I've got to have my 4 down at the same time. And this difference between hitting it like this and hitting it like this, even though my 2's in the same spot, that's what makes this part so challenging. Kind of fear doing this in front of you guys. This one's extremely rough. Let's start off with measure 18. I didn't change my bowing there. So, So those are the 2 parts that I struggle with the most, specifically because as much as I can hear G... Okay, first off. Okay, so G has been like my grounding note. I can hear when I'm in tune with G. So A is a little bit more difficult for me. In tune there because I'm sitting here paying attention to the ringing, but in the middle I just haven't spent enough time with A on the D string. I need to spend more time with it basically. That's kind of an example. I guess let's go through March of G. You guys can cringe. I'm gonna cringe too, so let's cringe together. Okay, first. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna torture you guys with that anymore. I couldn't hear what the song was supposed to sound like. So, if you guys are familiar with it, you probably could tell I was way off. So, that's what my current work in progress is. Just kind of update you guys on that. So, one last thing before we go. I just kind of want to revisit. These videos are also for me, so I want to kind of see my progress with. Is it Minuet number 3? Now I forget the name of them. Yeah, Minuet number 3. The last one I demoed. It's kind of like my go-to song right now, but it's because I want to get better at it. I want to hear my own progress with that one song. So. Ooh, that sounded bad. Alrighty, there we go. There's parts that I improve on, and then I seem to forget other parts. Keep in mind, this is all in memory. Most of it, Musette and the other one. The last two I showed you before that, those are not memorized quite yet. I haven't played them quite enough. I try to keep every song I've learned memorized, and that means a lot of going back and playing them over and over, like that song. But that one, obviously not quite enough. My fingers seem to be forgetting where they're going. Anyways, that's it. If you guys have any questions about, any further questions about the tendonitis and how I dealt with it and the therapy I went through, go ahead and message me. Be more than happy to help. I know there's a lot of people out there. The Facebook group alone, a few people have mentioned that they're also suffering through it. So if you have it, you're not alone, especially if you do what I did and grip really hard. That can cause it. So just make sure you catch yourself before that. But yeah, that's it. I will see you guys next time. Hopefully I will get another video out before my 2-year mark. Even though technically it was my 1.5-year mark, I still want to mark it as the 2-year since I started. I had 6 months of a break of not playing at all. So Anyways, thank you guys, and I will see you guys next time.